yes, I think we're definitely coming into an amazing storm of sales.
Yep.
It's going to be it's just everything's just going to kind of collide exactly at the right moment. But I think right now there are just so many bad practices. It makes me really worried.
Well, look, we can't be short-sighted, and we're seeing some short-sighted dealers out there with the price gouging. I mean, there's an opportunity, there's cash on the table. Look, there's cash on the dash, and it's hard to not want to take it all off. But we know that in our industry, just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. And we've faced this before. We've been here before. Okay, we face this daily in our F&I offices.
Well, that's true.
Okay,
This is not a new thing. This has been going on
this
for a while.
This is not a new thing where you need to do the ethical and the moral check and ask yourselves, are you there to actually build and win a customer for life? Or are you there to make as most money as you can off that customer that day? And obviously any dealer with a long-term strategy and that cares about their CSI, is going to be careful. Now, we also were talking about that it's kind of a whirlwind for the consumer right now, because it's more than even just new cars are selling for over list. So they're selling for over list, but what's going on is to sell it over list, you got to RDR the thing.
Yes.
And so now it's actually a pre-owned, so you're buying it with 200 kilometers, 200 miles,
Yep.
or 100 miles, and now you've also just pulled the captive
Yes.
rates from the client. And so not only am I charging the customer over MSRP,
Exactly.
but I'm not able to offer my sub-vented captive rates. They lost, the 0% or the 0.9 financing. They lost the ability to lease. Look, I just went through it. I tried to. I was just looking. I was looking at a Shelby,
Yep.
and then I was looking at a Mach, and the Mach actually leases out really well with Ford Credit.
Yeah.
And they're like, and the Mach's brand new. It's in the showroom. It's
Yep.
brand new. There's no mileage on it, right? Like, it's used. But,
See?
and I said, but it's
just,
not.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should. I mean, but guys, it's price, demand, and supply, and demand. Like, come off it. Just because you can doesn't necessarily mean you should. I mean, look, that customer's going to come back 3-4 years from now.
Yeah.
All right. They did not have subvented rates. They paid $15,000 over list. They also probably bought another $4,000 or $5,000 worth of stuff in the F&I office. And these guys are going to be $35,000 upside down.
100%.
There's not a finance company in the world that's going to want to touch that paper.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Like, oh, but it's the customer's choice. They decided to do it. Okay, fine. They decided to do it. But you think they're going to remember that
Now,
in
look,
3 to 4 years?
There's also something to be said, though, okay, like with my dealer hat on, is that I'm not going to sell you a new car, my customer, so he could or she could go flip it on a classified site tomorrow and make the $15K. And so what we're starting to see is some mutual agreements between dealers and consumers, and I think that that's a more realistic and fair approach. They shouldn't be able to, like, for example, in Canada, right, one of the biggest things that we have to be conscious of is an immediate export.
Sure.
And so, look, I'm going to sell you one of my only F-150 Lariats, okay? And,
Yep.
but you can't go flip the thing and export it tomorrow because I couldn't,
Yep.
right? And so there has to be kind of I think, a mutually beneficial agreement between the dealers and the consumers to build that relationship. Now, there's never been a better time to do that. Retention is never going to be higher. Pull ahead, trade in and trade ups has never been better.
Thanks for tuning in to the Strategy with Jason podcast with your host, Jason Harris. Don't want to miss new content? Be sure to check out the full podcast library at strategywithjason.com to stay in the know. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Happy podcasting.